The medieval world stood on the brink of a monumental change. The year was 1453, and the city of Constantinople, a bastion of Christian civilization, was about to fall. Founded by Constantine the Great, this legendary city had been the heart of the Eastern Roman Empire for over 1,000 years. Constantine moved his seat of power here, and after Rome fell, the city gradually grew to become the most populous urban center in mid-15th century Europe. Its strategic position, connecting Europe and Asia, made it a hub of commerce and culture. Meanwhile, a new power was rising in the east. The Ottoman Empire was expanding rapidly. By 1451, the Ottomans had already conquered most of the Byzantine territory, and their new sultan had grand ambitions. Mehmed II, only 21 years old, had his eyes set on Constantinople. The young sultan was a visionary determined to carve out his legacy. He believed that capturing Constantinople would solidify his empire's dominance and fulfill his destiny as a conqueror. On the other side, Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos ruled over the shattered Byzantine Empire. In spite of his precarious situation, he was a leader of great courage and resolve, determined to honor Constantinople's Roman legacy. With limited resources, he braced his city for the impending siege. His diplomatic efforts were tireless. He reached out to the west for aid, pleading for a unified Christian front against the Ottomans. The response was lukewarm at best, leaving Constantinople to face the Ottomans largely alone. Among the few who answered was Giovanni Giustiniani, a Genoese military commander who joined the defensive effort due to a combination of personal ambition, the promise of rewards, and a sense of duty as a Christian defending a major Christian city. He arrived with around 700 well-equipped soldiers and brought crucial expertise in fortification and siege warfare, significantly bolstering the city's defenses against the Ottomans. His arrival and efforts were vital in organizing the city's defense, earning him a prominent role in the resistance against the Ottoman forces from the beginning of the siege. There was one good reason the city remained unconquered for so long. Constantinople's defenses were legendary. Its massive Theodosian walls had withstood sieges for centuries, protecting its people from invaders. The city was also guarded by a formidable moat and a massive chain that blocked the entrance to the waters of the Golden Horn, a natural estuary that connects with the Bosporus Strait at the point where the strait meets the sea. These defenses had kept the city safe for over 1,000 years, making it seem impregnable. Yet Mehmed was not deterred by the city's formidable defenses. He employed innovative siege engines, including a massive cannon known as the Basilica. Designed by Hungarian engineer Urban, the Basilica could fire enormous stone balls, capable of shattering the city's walls. Mehmed also gathered a massive and diverse army, combining forces from across his empire, ready to lay siege to the city. Although hard to estimate, it is believed he used an 80,000 to 100,000 strong army, including auxiliary personnel. The siege began with initial artillery barrage and regular assaults that tested the city's defenses. Facing fierce resistance, the Ottomans continued their relentless attacks day and night. Early on, Mehmed offered terms of surrender, but Constantine refused to yield. The Sultan seemed generous, promising safety for citizens, but Constantine's resolve to defend his city was unbreakable. Gradually, life inside the besieged capital was becoming harsh, with food shortages and constant fear of breach affecting the morale of its citizens. Throughout the siege, the emperor resorted to ceremonies and religious processions to inspire and strengthen the resolve of his defenders. Meanwhile, enduring the brunt force of the Ottoman artillery, Byzantine engineers worked tirelessly to repair the walls and fortify weak points, with incredible ingenuity and dedication. Their efforts were crucial in withstanding the initial Ottoman assaults, buying precious time for the defenders. The Ottomans even attempted to dig tunnels underneath the walls to create collapses in the fortifications, but the Byzantines were aware of these underground operations. They employed experienced miners from the city and foreign experts to dig counter-tunnels. Their engineers used a variety of methods to detect Ottoman tunnels, including listening posts and metal plates on the ground to feel vibrations. In several instances, Byzantine and Ottoman miners engaged in underground combat when their tunnels intersected. These encounters were brutal and conducted in extremely confined spaces. The defensive efforts were efficient and largely successful. With his land siege making little progress, Mehmed's strategy focused on naval maneuvering. To overcome the chain blocking the Golden Horn, he devised a plan to transport ships overland and create an additional front. This incredible feat of engineering allowed the Ottoman fleet to bypass the defenses and attack from an unexpected direction. The Byzantines were caught off guard, realizing the full extent of Mehmed's determination and ingenuity. Now the Ottomans had secured a key advantage. The final assault came after weeks of relentless siege. On May 29, 1453, the Ottomans launched an all-out attack. Mehmed forces breached the walls after focused artillery fire in weak spots such as the Gate of St. Romanus. This marked the beginning of the end for Constantinople. The city's defenders fought bravely, but they were vastly outnumbered and outgunned once the Ottomans rushed into the city. During the day, Giustiniani was severely wounded. This had an immense psychological impact on soldiers and citizens alike, as many realized the impending doom and gravity of the situation. Emperor Constantine XI fought valiantly, leading his men in a desperate last stand. His bravery became legendary as he chose to die fighting rather than flee. His defiance became a symbol of resistance and courage, even in the face of certain defeat. His sacrifice marked the fall of the Byzantine Empire. The Roman legacy, which started in this city under one Constantine, was now being suppressed under another. After the city's fall, chaos ensued. The Ottomans sacked Constantinople, and the city that had stood as a beacon of civilization for over a millennium was ravaged. The city's treasures were looted, and its inhabitants faced unspeakable horrors. Survivors fled or went into hiding, their lives uprooted and forever changed. The fall of Constantinople marked a significant turning point in history, signaling the end of the Byzantine Empire, and it had more profound and far-reaching consequences that shaped the world we live in today. The Western world, shocked by the news, realized the urgency of countering the Ottoman threat, though efforts to mount a new crusade failed. The Eastern Orthodox Church was particularly affected, losing its most significant site of power. The Orthodox faith found its new center of gravity in Russia, where the Tsars claimed Moscow to be the new successor of ancient Rome. Scholars and artists fled westward, bringing with them knowledge that would help spark the Renaissance, thus shifting the European center of culture in the West once again. With the Ottomans now controlling the Bosporus, Europeans had to seek new paths to the east, eventually leading to the Age of Exploration. The victorious Sultan became known as Mehmed the Conqueror, and his prized city was renamed Istanbul, the new capital of the Ottoman Empire. This marked the beginning of a new era for the city and the empire. The most powerful symbol of the cultural and religious shift was Mehmed's decision to turn the Hagia Sophia into a mosque. He aimed to rebuild and revitalize the city, inviting diverse groups to settle there and restore its glory. Under Ottoman rule, it gradually became a vibrant and thriving metropolis once again. The fall of Constantinople solidified the Ottoman Empire's status as a dominant power in the region. Mehmed the Conqueror expanded his empire, leaving a legacy of both cultural blending and military prowess. His expansion continued into the Balkans, and he even established a short-lived foothold into Italy before the end of his reign. He marked the beginning of a golden age for the Ottomans, influencing the world for centuries to come. The fall of Constantinople was not just the end of an empire, it was the dawn of a new age, one that forced kingdoms to become stronger and build empires under the threat of Ottoman expansion. At the grand scale of history, such events have consequences throughout the ages. They also teach us the transformative power of ambition, resilience, and adaptation in shaping our world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. You can keep rolling the reel of time by watching these other videos. See you next time.